He served as the 27th United States Secretary of Defense, leading the department through unprecedented times, author of the New York Times best-selling memoir, A Sacred Oath. My friend and former colleague, the Honorable Dr. Mark T. Esper. Mark, let's start out with your career journey.
I went to West Point, graduated, spent 10 years on active duty as an infantry officer, worked in both the Senate and the House and in leadership and in committees. And then from there, I jumped into industry, first at Aerospace Industries Association. I worked on a presidential campaign briefly, then at the Chamber of Commerce, and then Raytheon in 2010, where I ended up running government relations, before leaving for the administration in 2017 to become Secretary of the Army and then eventually the Secretary of Defense. I've had a pretty broad career. It helped me a great deal when I was serving at the Pentagon. Well, there's no magic formula or 10 steps to being a better leader or do these 6 things and everybody will love you. By the way, everybody doesn't love you. Just follow the golden rule, you'll be fine. If you're an employer, how do you want your manager to treat you? And if you're the manager, how would you want to be treated? Look, just because you give your boss a recommendation, which you should, doesn't mean he or she has to take it. And don't get your feelings hurt if they don't.
Can you share your perspectives on the geopolitical landscape?
We are in a historical inflection point right now. That is the rise of great power competition. There's a lot of things breaking at the seams in the world at a time when American leadership seems to be stepping back, and that concerns me. I think this is a time for American leadership because the Europeans need us. They look for that leadership. And we bring the world together. We support the international norms and behaviors and international law and those types of things. If America steps back, if we don't pass the supplemental funding for Ukraine, the pipeline will be essentially cut off to supply Ukraine with the arms and ammunition they need. The Europeans will follow, and then it's just a matter of time. I got to tell you, if somebody came to me as SecDef and said, if you give up $61 billion, we'll knock out 90% of the Russian army. Would you take that deal? And I'd probably take that deal. Set aside the fact that I see the conflict as one between autocracy and democracy, and we have to stand behind our values. From a pragmatic perspective, that's a pretty good cost-benefit ratio. People say, what's the biggest threat facing our country? What I tell people is the greatest threat facing our country is political extremism from both sides of the aisle. It's killing us. And until we deal with the political extremism and the partisanship, then we can't get both parties together to solve the big issues of our day. I mean, getting an annual budget done should not be a big issue.
Now I'm seeing someone who is very open, smiling, making some jokes, and I was thinking, okay, is it just the way you are, or is it because you don't have anymore all the responsibility of the country on your shoulders?
Why don't you let me answer that?
Yeah.
Okay. No, this is his real personality. Okay.
As bad as things look right now, I still believe in America. I still believe that leader is out there. I don't know who she is or who he is or when they emerge, but I'm confident we're going to get through this, and there will be optimism and hope once again, and we'll hopefully view our country a lot different then than we do now. So don't be dismayed.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Thanks, Dave.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, folks.